My name is Emily Hayes, and if you had asked me a year ago what my life looked like, I would have told you it was perfect picture. Perfect, in fact. A stable marriage, a comfortable home, a loving husband, and a future I thought I could trust. I was the woman who believed loyalty was the foundation of everything. I believed honesty mattered. I believed love meant something. But sometimes, love is the very thing that blinds you. And sometimes, the person you trust most becomes the one who destroys you. It started on a rainy Thursday night, the kind of evening where the sky feels heavy and you can sense something is wrong before you even know what it is. I remember standing by the kitchen window, watching droplets race down the glass while dinner simmered on the stove. Michael was late again. He'd been late a lot these past few months, always with some excuse attached. A meeting ran long, a client needed him, traffic was terrible. You know, the usual lines husbands use when they think they're smarter than they actually are. My heart felt uneasy, but I pushed the feeling down, telling myself I was overthinking. At 8:47 p.m., the front door finally opened, and Michael walked in, shaking rain from his coat. "Long day?" I asked, trying to sound casual. He kissed my cheek quickly, too quickly. "Yeah, exhausting. I'm starving." That was all. No tenderness, no warmth. Just a man going through motions. I studied him while he ate. How he didn't look at me. How he kept checking his phone under the table. How his smile never reached his eyes. I wanted to ask the question burning inside me, but fear held my throat hostage. I wasn't ready. Not yet. Later that night, after Michael fell asleep, his phone buzzed on the nightstand. A soft, tiny vibration, barely noticeable. But I noticed. My stomach tightened as I reached for it. Just a quick glance, I told myself. Just enough to ease the anxiety that had been living in my chest. But what I saw wasn't anxiety. It was truth. A message banner popped up on the locked screen. "I miss you already. Drive safe, baby." From a contact labeled KM, my vision blurred. My ears rang. My breath caught somewhere between a gasp and a sob. Baby, baby. I stared at the word until it stopped looking like a word and started feeling like a knife. I wanted to throw the phone across the room. I wanted to shake Michael awake and scream at him. I wanted answers I already knew the shape of. But I just sat there, frozen, numb. Eventually, I placed the phone back, rolled to my side, and stared at the ceiling until morning. The next day, I did something I never thought I'd do. I followed him. Michael left the house in a rush, claiming he had an early meeting downtown. I waited 10 minutes, just enough to keep distance, then grabbed my keys and tailed him. He didn't go downtown. He drove to a neighborhood cafe on Brookshire Avenue, a quaint little place with plants hanging from every window and soft jazz leaking out the door. I parked across the street and watched as Michael got out of the car. Then SHE appeared. A woman in a red trench coat ran into his arms like she belonged there. Like she had every right in the world to hold my husband. He kissed her forehead. She giggled. They walked inside, hands intertwined. I felt myself splitting in two, half of me wanting to disappear, half of me wanting to walk inside and drag him out by the collar. Instead, I stayed in the car. I watched through the rain-dotted windshield as my husband, the man who vowed to love me forever, held another woman's face the way he hadn't held mine in months. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. I couldn't breathe. I drove away before I did something irreversible. That evening I waited for him in the living room. Lights dimmed, my heart pounding so loudly I could feel the beat in my teeth. When Michael walked in, humming to himself, I stood up slowly. "We need to talk," I said. His smile faltered. "About what?" I looked him dead in the eyes. "About the woman in the red coat." His face drained of color. For a moment, he didn't even blink. Then he straightened his posture, like a man preparing for war. "What did you do, Emily? Follow me?" He snapped. Anger burned the edges of my vision. "Don't you dare flip this on me." He dragged a hand through his hair, pacing. "This is not what you think." I laughed, a bitter, broken sound. "Really?" "Because it looked exactly like what I think." Silence. Then he finally said it. The sentence that sucked the air out of my lungs. "It was a mistake, and you're going to forgive me." My mouth fell open. "Excuse me?" He stepped closer, voice turning cold. "We have 10 years together. A home. A life. You're not blowing everything up because of one stupid, meaningless lapse." "Lapse?" I whispered, disbelief twisting inside me. "She means nothing," he insisted. "But you're my wife, and I expect you to act like it." His tone wasn't apologetic. It was commanding, controlling. entitled. For the first time, I saw him clearly, not as the man I loved, but as the man he truly was. Then he said something that made my blood turn to ice. If you forgive me now, we can move forward. If not, he paused, looking me up and down with a coldness that terrified me. You'll regret it. Regret it. A threat. My husband, my partner, was threatening me. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I simply went silent, because behind that silence, something in me shifted. Something dark. Something powerful. Something that would make Michael wish he had never crossed me. But I kept my expression neutral. Calm. Controlled. Fine, I whispered. I forgive you. He exhaled in relief, not realizing the storm gathering behind my quiet voice. Forcing me to forgive him was his biggest mistake, because forgiveness was the last thing he was ever going to get from me. And the next move I made would change everything. But Michael didn't know that yet. Not at all. Not until the night I discovered what he was really hiding, and why he was desperate, terrified, for me to stay quiet. I barely slept, if you can even call it sleep. My mind kept replaying the messages. Kara's desperation, Michael's silence, the threat from the unknown sender. By sunrise, the only thing I felt was resolve. Hard, cold resolve. I needed answers, and I was going to get them. I waited until Michael left the house, then quickly got dressed and headed for the address I found in one of her messages, the one labeled K's. Plese. My heart hammered the entire drive, but I kept reminding myself, I wasn't the villain here. I wasn't the liar. I wasn't the one hiding something life-altering. But when I reached the apartment building, a small, worn-down complex with peeling paint and a rusted gate, I got a sinking feeling in my stomach. This didn't look like the life of a woman being spoiled by secret wire transfers and expensive gifts. It looked like someone barely surviving. I climbed the stairs slowly, each step heavier than the last. Her door was at the very end of the hall, number 206. I knocked once. No answer. I knocked again, louder. I was about to turn away when the doorknob clicked, and there she was. The woman in the red coat, though today she wasn't wearing it. She looked smaller than I remembered. Fragile. Her eyes were swollen from crying, and her hair was pulled into a messy bun like she hadn't slept all night. But that wasn't what froze me. It was what she was holding. A baby. A tiny baby. Wrapped in a faded blanket. Barely a few months old. My throat closed. W, what is that? I whispered before my brain could catch up to my mouth. She flinched, hugging the child closer. Emily? She knew my name. Yes, I managed, still staring at the baby. I need to talk to you. She hesitated. But then her expression softened in a way that told me she wasn't surprised to see me. She stepped aside. Come in, she whispered. I think it's time. Time? Time for what? I walked inside, my eyes immediately scanning the small apartment. It was cluttered with baby bottles, diapers, thrift store furniture. No luxury. No signs of a woman being kept by a rich, cheating husband. This woman wasn't living a glamorous secret life. She was struggling. She motioned for me to sit, but I stayed standing. Whose child is that? I finally asked. She swallowed hard. Emily, please sit down. I'm not sitting until you answer me. I snapped, my voice shaking with anger and fear. She closed her eyes like someone preparing to jump off a cliff. It's Michael's. The words hit me like a punch to the stomach. My knees buckled, and I had to grab the back of a chair to steady myself. No, I whispered. That's impossible, he said. I know what he told you. She cut in gently. He lies to both of us. The baby made a soft sound, and Kara bounced him gently. A fatherly gesture. A familiar gesture. One I had seen Michael do with my niece. My vision blurred as reality slammed into me. Michael didn't just cheat. He had a child. A whole child. I forced myself to breathe, even though the air felt thick and poisonous. How long? Almost 7 months, she whispered. He said he'd tell you. He promised. But he never did. Something inside me cracked. Slowly, painfully. A child. Another woman. Another life. My entire marriage suddenly felt like a stage play. Me acting like a wife. Him acting like a husband. Both of us trapped in different versions of the same lie. But even as the shock swallowed me, something didn't add up. Michael wouldn't hide a baby just because of guilt. He wouldn't be terrified of me discovering a child. He would have spun it, manipulated it, justified it. No. His fear came from something else. What aren't you telling me? I asked her sharply. Kara's eyes filled with tears. Emily, This wasn't supposed to happen. I swear. I never wanted to ruin your marriage. You already did, I said coldly. So tell me everything. She sunk onto the couch, cradling the baby. Michael and I, we weren't supposed to be a real thing. It was an arrangement. Arrangement? I repeated slowly. She nodded, wiping her eyes. I was in a bad situation. I needed money. He offered to help me. In exchange for. She glanced at the baby. My stomach twisted. So he paid you? She nodded again. At first, yes. But then things got complicated. I got pregnant. He freaked out, disappeared for a few months, then came back. Terrified. Terrified of what? I demanded. Her gaze darkened. Of him. Who? The man who's been threatening us. The one you saw in those emails. My pulse quickened. Do you know his name? She nodded slowly. Yes. He's the baby's real father. I blinked. What? She swallowed, tears dripping down her cheeks. I told Michael the baby might be his, but I wasn't sure. I was scared and confused. But the other man, the real father, he found out about Michael. He thinks Michael stole me from him. He wants the baby, and he's dangerous. My mind struggled to catch up. So the affair wasn't love? It wasn't emotional? She shook her head hard. No. God, no. It was desperation. He helped me when I had nothing. And Michael was planning to fake a DNA test to make the other man back off. Fake a DNA test. Lie to a dangerous man. Use a baby as leverage. My stomach churned. Why would Michael do that? I whispered. Because the real father isn't just some guy, she said, voice trembling. He's someone with power, with connections. And Michael owes him money. A lot of money. More than he can ever repay. My blood ran cold. And when I got pregnant, she continued, that man became obsessed with getting the child back. Michael thought if he pretended the baby was his, he could use the lie to protect himself. It hit me at once. The secret bank account, the threatening emails, the money transfers, the panic, the affair, the forced forgiveness, everything. Michael wasn't afraid of losing me. He was afraid of losing his life. But why drag me into this? I whispered, voice cracking. Kara looked at me with heartbreaking fear. Because he told me something last week. Something you need to know. She took a deep breath, tightening her hold on the baby. Michael didn't just lie to you, Emily. He didn't just cheat. He put you in danger. All of this, it involves you now. Because the man threatening us. She hesitated. He thinks you know everything. My heart stopped. And he's coming for you next. The room spun. My breath caught. And then Kara whispered the final nail in the coffin. Michael told him that you helped hide the baby. What? My blood went ice cold. My vision darkened. My knees nearly collapsed. Michael lied about me. To protect himself. To save himself. And he threw me straight into the fire. Kara stood up, panic in her eyes. Emily, he knows your name. Your address. He knows everything. And he's already on his way. Turning point. For a moment, I couldn't hear anything. Not Kara's shaky breathing. Not the baby's soft whimpers. Not the buzzing street noise outside her window. Just one ringing thought. He's coming for me. Me. The woman who didn't cheat. The woman who didn't lie. The woman who didn't even know she was part of a nightmare until it was already swallowing her whole. My fingers trembled as I gripped the back of the chair, grounding myself. Kara, I whispered, forcing my voice to steady. What do you mean he's coming for me? Why would Michael tell him I helped hide the baby? She swallowed hard, fresh tears forming. Because Michael panicked. When the man threatened him again. He said he'd expose everything, Michael's affair, the illegal money transfers, the fake documents. Everything. My pulse roared in my ears. So Michael blamed me. I hissed. She nodded slowly. He thought if the man believed you were involved, he'd back off. He thought the man wouldn't dare go after a married woman with no criminal record. He assumed it would make things complicated. Complicated? He put a target on my back because it would be complicated. I felt something inside me snap. A thin thread of patience, of loyalty, of compassion. It all tore at once. Give me his name, I said. Kara hesitated, fear overtaking her features. Emily, you shouldn't. His name? I repeated, sharper this time. She took a shaky breath. His name is Dominic Vance. The name felt heavy. Dangerous. Like something whispered in back alleys. Who is he? I asked. Kara hugged the baby closer. He's not just anybody. He runs. Things. Dangerous things. Debt collection. underground deals, protection services, the kind of man people don't cross. And Michael crossed him? No, she corrected softly. Michael stole from him. My heart dropped. What? She nodded painfully. A year ago, Michael got involved in one of Dominic's side businesses. Something about flipping money, fast investments. At first, he made a little profit, but then he got greedy. He took a large amount and tried to double it, and lost. How much? I whispered. Kara's eyes darted away. 70,000. My breath hitched. 70. I pressed a hand to my chest. That was more than we had in savings. More than our house down payment. More than our yearly expenses. Michael didn't have the money to return, she continued. So he started working for Dominic on the side, doing favors, running errands, paying him back in pieces. I felt physically ill. My husband, my well put together, responsible, predictable husband, was working for a criminal, a man who solved problems with intimidation, violence, and fear. And when you got pregnant? I asked. Her voice cracked. Dominic became obsessed. He thought the baby was his. He still does. And when Michael tried to walk away, Dominic threatened him. I sank onto the couch, my legs weak. So Michael used me as a shield. Kara nodded. He told Dominic you were involved in the cover-up, that you knew where the baby was, that you were helping him. My stomach twisted painfully. He used you, she whispered, because he thought Dominic wouldn't hurt a woman. I let out a bitter, humorless laugh. Men like Dominic don't care who they hurt. No, she agreed softly. They don't. A loud thud sounded outside the door. Kara froze. I froze. Even the baby stopped fussing, sensing danger. Another thud. Heavier. Closer. My heart slammed against my ribs so hard I thought it might break. Kara, I whispered urgently. Is that him? She went pale. He said he was coming today. To take the baby. My pulse spiked. We have to go, I said. I can't, she cried. He'll follow me. He'll never stop. I grabbed her arm. Kara, if we stay, we die. Get the diaper bag. Now. She hesitated only a second before nodding frantically. She grabbed a small bag, stuffed it with essentials, and wrapped the baby tighter. Another pounding hit the door. This one wasn't a knock. This was the sound of a fist demanding entrance. Open the door. A deep voice snarled from the hallway. My blood ran cold. Dominic. Kara covered her mouth to suppress a sob. I scanned the apartment quickly. Is there a fire escape? She pointed to the small bedroom window. Through there. Go, I ordered. I'll hold him off for 30 seconds. She stared at me like I was insane. Emily, no. He'll kill you. Move. She bolted into the bedroom with the baby. The door rattled violently now. Dominic wasn't knocking anymore. He was breaking in. I took a breath. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3. Then I grabbed the nearest thing I could use, a metal floor lamp, and held it like a weapon. The door smashed open. He stepped inside. Tall, muscular, cold eyes. A presence that sucked all the warmth from the air. His gaze landed on me instantly. You, he growled. My throat tightened, but I didn't falter. She's not here. I lied. He tilted his head. You must be Emily. I didn't answer. He stepped closer, utterly calm. Your husband made a mistake. Now I'm here to collect what he owes. I tightened my grip on the lamp. You're not taking her baby. He smiled. A slow, terrifying smile. I'm not here for the baby. My stomach dropped. Then what do you want? You, he said simply. I froze. What? Michael said you helped hide what belonged to me. So you'll come with me until he returns what he stole. My hands began to shake. Kara had reached the fire escape by now. I needed to buy her time. Just a few more seconds. I forced my voice steady. Michael lied. I had nothing to do with any of this. Dominic stepped closer. Close enough that I felt his breath. Lies are his problem, not mine. He reached for my arm. And at that exact moment, a deafening crash sounded from the bedroom. Dominic's head snapped toward the noise. He bolted forward. I ran after him, adrenaline overriding fear. He slammed open the bedroom door, but Kara was gone. The window wide open. The fire escape ladder clattering in the wind. Dominic snarled in fury. He turned toward me, eyes dark, wild, murderous. This, he growled, just became your fault. I backed away slowly, my mind racing, searching for an exit. But there was none. And then he lunged. The last thing I felt was his hand grabbing my wrist before everything spun into darkness. Climax plus resolution. The world returned to me in fragments. Sound first, then sensation, then blurry shapes. A low hum, a rattling engine, cold air blowing across my face, and the rough scrape of rope around my wrists. I opened my eyes slowly. I was in the back of a moving van, dim, metallic, the smell of gasoline filling my lungs. My head throbbed. My arms ached. My legs were numb from being tied for who knows how long. Across from me sat Dominic, arms crossed, eyes fixed on me like I was some inconvenient package he had to deliver. "You're awake," he said without looking away. I tried to speak, but my voice cracked. Where are you taking me?" He didn't blink. "Someplace quiet. Somewhere your husband will be, motivated to pay what he owes." My heart twisted with fear and fury. "This isn't my fault," I croaked. "It is now," he replied, completely unfazed. I pulled against the rope, wincing as the fibers dug deeper into my skin. "Michael lied to you. I didn't help hide anything." Dominic leaned forward slightly. "And you think that matters to me?" My chest tightened. He didn't care about truth. He didn't care about innocence. He cared about leverage. That's all I was to him, a bargaining chip. The van swerved sharply, and I fell sideways with a jolt. Dominic didn't budge. He watched me fall like he was watching a boring movie. But something in his eyes was off. Not anger, not rage, not even cruelty. It was exhaustion. A deep, simmering exhaustion. Almost like he didn't want to be here either. Almost like he was following a script of someone else's making. My mind raced. If I couldn't overpower him physically, maybe I could get him to listen. Or hesitate. Or even doubt Michael's story. Anything to buy time. I forced myself to speak again. "You're going through all this trouble for a baby that might not even be yours?" His jaw tightened. A small but telling reaction. "You don't know anything about me," he muttered. "I know you're desperate," I said quietly. "More desperate than you want to admit." His eyes snapped to mine. The van lurched to a stop. Dominic immediately reached for me, grabbing my arm, pulling me up like I weighed nothing. "Out," he ordered. We were in a deserted warehouse district, rows of empty buildings, broken windows, puddles from last night's rain reflecting the streetlights. He shoved me inside one of the warehouses, slamming the heavy door behind us. The interior was cold and echoing, filled with dusty crates and forgotten machinery. He dragged me toward a metal chair and pushed me down onto it. Then he tied my ankles. "Tighter this time. Michael will come for you," Dominic said as he tied the knot. "He always protects what belongs to him." I laughed weakly. "You don't know Michael at all." He paused. "What does that mean?" I lifted my chin, meeting his eyes. "Michael doesn't protect anyone. Not me. Not Kara. Not even himself. If he told you I helped hide that baby, it's because he needed someone else to take the fall." Dominic frowned. Just a flicker. A tiny crack in the mask. I leaned in. "Ask yourself something," I whispered. "If I was working with him, if I was helping him, why didn't I run when I had the chance? Why didn't I disappear with Kara?" He studied me. Silent, unmoving, but listening. So I kept going. And if he loved that baby so much he'd hide it, why didn't he try to protect Kara? Why didn't he stay with her? Why didn't he keep her safe from you? Dominic's jaw clenched. Another crack. "Good." Then he spoke, voice low. "He told me you were the brains behind it." I scoffed, disbelief twisting in my chest. Michael can't even find his keys in the morning. Dominic didn't answer, but I saw it. Doubt. And doubt was a weapon. Footsteps echoed through the warehouse. Swift, purposeful. Dominic tensed. I froze. Then the person stepped into the dim light. Michael. His hair disheveled, his shirt wrinkled, his eyes hollow and furious. "Dominic," he said breathlessly. "What are you doing?" "I told you not to touch her." Dominic stepped between us, his posture shifting. "You lied to me." Michael's eyes widened. No, I didn't." "She is involved." "Really?" Dominic asked. "Because she says you blamed her to save yourself." Michael glared at me venomous. "You stupid." "Enough," Dominic snapped. That surprised us both. Michael's nostrils flared. "This wasn't the plan." "The plan," Dominic repeated slowly, "was for you to pay what you owe, not drag your wife into your mess." "My wife," Michael barked. "She's the reason everything fell apart. She followed me. She found Kara. She ruined everything." "I ruined everything?" I cut in. Or did you ruin everything when you stole $70,000 and cheated on me with a woman you were paying? Michael whipped toward me, fury blazing. You think this is about the affair? You have no idea what's really going on, Emily. Oh, really? Then enlighten me, I snapped. He hesitated, just long enough to reveal the truth. Michael wasn't here to save me. He wasn't here to negotiate. He wasn't even here because he cared. He was here because Dominic threatened to expose him. And Michael feared exposure more than he feared losing me. You told him I helped hide the baby, I said softly. Why? Michael's eyes flicked between us. Because it made sense. No, I whispered. Because you're a coward. A muscle in his jaw twitched. Dominic stepped closer to him. You owe me 70,000. You promised me a child. You delivered neither. The words hit me. You promised him a child? Michael paled. I needed more time. Kara lied about the paternity test. I thought if I convinced you. I gasped. Convince me of what? Michael didn't answer. But Dominic did. He wanted you to pretend the baby was yours. My stomach dropped. Michael looked desperate, sweating. Emily, listen, I was going to explain everything. I stood, the chair scraping violently across the concrete. You wanted to use me as a mother to cover your crimes? Emily. To protect yourself? I shouted. Dominic raised a hand. Enough. We all fell silent. Then he turned to me. You're not the one who owes me, he said. You walk away. Today. Michael spun toward him. What? No, she can't leave. She's the only leverage I have with the bank. The bank. The bank. My voice broke. Michael, what did you do? He opened his mouth. But Dominic moved first. One swift punch. Michael dropped to the floor like a rag doll, gasping, stunned. Dominic looked down at him coldly. You gambled with a woman's life. That I don't tolerate. Then he turned to me. And for the first time, his gaze wasn't cold. It was almost human. You should go, he said. I stared at him, stunned. Just like that? He shrugged lightly. Your husband's the problem, not you. My hands trembled as he cut the rope around my wrists and ankles. I stood slowly, unsteady, shaken but free. Michael reached for me weakly. Emily, please don't leave me. I stared at him, at the liar, the manipulator, the man who betrayed me, endangered me, and nearly destroyed me. I'm not leaving you, I said softly. Michael's face lit up, pathetic relief spreading across his features. I took a step back. You already lost me. And with that, I walked out of the warehouse, into the cold night air, into freedom, into a life no longer tied to his lies. As I stepped away, I heard Dominic's voice behind me. Don't look back. So I didn't. Not even once. Teach end.